Hello again, it's Carson, and today we're going to be talking about the Shadow Blade, because it just basically got an even better form in the new patch. This patch 8 stress test is what we were seeing, alright? So, without further ado, let me show you how broken this thing is. Wah-bam! Okay, it would be broken if it was, accurate, but that was my fault, so let me go ahead. Da-da-da. We can all dual wield them now, so we can do a lot of damage with that. But we also have Gale here, and he can also Booming Blade with an Arcane Trickster. Booming Blade, 42 and 15, insane damage. Alright. In fact, you know what I want to do? I want to go ahead. I'm going to enrage. Gigantic. That's right. We got some other stuff to show you with the patch. Here we go. Now keep note, Karlach here, that's right. We got a dog from the shadow. But Karlach here has her soul coins buff, the Infernal Fury. And so if we get the kick, we do indeed get the bonus. Oh yeah, fire damage from that. So the fire damage from soul coins when you enrage as Karlach will apply to things like Boot of the Giant, as well as Tavern Brawler and all that. But we're here for Shadow Blade. So, Shadow Blade, dual wielding, super cool. Wah-bam! Look at that, nasty. Alright, so let's get down to it. We've got a lot of stuff to cover. I'll try and make it snappy too. Alright, as always though, we're talking about Shadow Blade, the new and improved 2.0 Shadow Blade. You're gonna really love this, especially if you've ever used that silly glitch. Alright, but a big thank you to you guys. The only reason I have access to patch 8 and its stress test is because you guys watch, you want to know things, I want to know things, and someone was nice enough to give me access as a bonus, like, code, right? So, I gotta pay it forward and try and show you what's possible. So definitely drop comments. Let me know what you want to see. I want to see things too. You guys help me get good ideas. But if you want to support the channel, let's leave it to the end of the video. Let's get right into it, alright? So, Shadow Blade 2.0. I'll do my little patch 8 grab bag from notable stuff we saw on stream, and then we'll get right into the topic, alright? So, I have a full list right here from the stream. Go check out the War Master stream. We beat the Elder Brian, and here's a bunch of things that we figured out last night, just collaborating with the remaining time on stream, alright? So go check that out, but also keep in mind, top left, while this is the stress test, okay, it's not confirmed that this is all, none of this is going to change, right? So some of this is subject to change. I just have to highlight that because I don't want to give out any silly information that's not going to be true when this does finalize. That's why we're here to test it, right? So War Master stream, we finished the run. Good for us. We beat Brian, but then we tested some more stuff after the run. So go check that stuff out, because what I try to do is get in chat, take your recommendations or ideas, and we'll test it. But also, if you just want to drop a comment in this video, let me know. I'll try and sift through the ideas and test them for you, okay? So we'll test more stuff for now. We now know that the soul coin bonus currently does apply things like Boot of the Giants, right? So that's really cool. So when you're enraged and whatnot, your Infernal Fury does apply to that. That's pretty awesome. Apparently it just applies to it in general, so cool. Shadow Sorcerer, the dog, we're going to look into the subclass a little more in detail in some other videos, but this dog has a really cool reaction when hit. It can splinter off and make another small doggo. So Nimbus here can keep making pups every turn with this reaction ability. So we didn't know this. A lot of us wanted to know. It's confirmed, but it's not as busted as you think. It's still really cool. Seems very intended, and it seems a lot of fun. So we'll talk about Nimbus another time. Cannot Booming Blade during Enrage. Yes, so it's confirmed that Boomer Blade, it's very popular. Everyone's going to love this. This is one of my favorite new things. Very small addition to the game, but very big impact. You cannot enrage and, use this, because when you're enraged, you can't cast spells. So it does count as using a cantrip spell during enrage. Doesn't work. Swashbuckler. There is this cool little swashbuckler flick attack. If you see it in the stream, you'll see we were testing out how to manipulate it, but you can basically, we found out that it's confirmed you can only use this on weapon users. If they're wielding a weapon, then the swashbuckler technically has a second attack at level 4, which is really cool, okay? But there's ways to abuse it, but it's not too functional, and you might be fighting like an owl bear, and this is pointless, okay? So, really cool ability, and we can manipulate it, but we'll talk about it another time. Alright, Skidoo Blade. So, let's get back to Skidoo Blade. Erdtree has, you know, changed my verbiage, so I'm going to keep calling it Skidoo Blade. Get over it. Skidoo Blade is 1.0, back before the patch, you know, on the current live version. You would have to use this ring that you get in Act 2 from Arabella, a little quest, right? And when you have this ring, you have to equip it. It must stay on your persons. Then you can summon the Shadow Blade, and it'll have to stay on your persons as well. So you have to use a ring slot. You cannot give the ring, the Shadow Blade to anybody, and it must, you know, you can take it off and put it back on. That's fine, but you're going to now concentrate on this, so you can't use things like haste and whatnot. And so basically, it's a ring. You have to use a ring slot. You have to use concentration. You can only use one. If you lose concentration, you'll have to summon it again on short rest. So you'll have to short rest to get it back. So it can be a little annoying, and so people have come to know this spell or this glitch, right? So it's become a very common glitch to use this. I won't explain how to do the glitch here because honestly, the point of this video is you don't have to anymore. So seemingly in patch 8, it's subject to change, but the new Shadow Blade, which is great because you can use it with the old Shadow Blade, is now a spell. So you can learn the Shadow Blade as a spell. It's a level 2 spell, and it can be upcasted just like Flame Blade on even level spell slots, okay? So it gets more powerful at level 4 spell slot, and finally level 6 spell slot, like stupidly powerful, okay? So it can upcast just like Flame Blade, but unlike the old version, there is no concentration for this thing. I'll demonstrate that here. Now if I turn this off, I'm gonna lose one of my Shadow Blades, okay? But I still have the one I spellcasted and upcasted, okay? So there's no turn limit, unlike Flame Blade. There's no turn limit. It's just sitting there as a new weapon, I assume, all day long rest period. And you can get it as a level 3 wizard, warlock, or sorcerer. It just shows up as an option to learn the spell, okay? Which is awesome because all 3 of these are going to do really cool things with Shadow Blade. I already know people are going to just make videos about how broken Shadow Blade is, and it is. It's broken, but it's always been that way. It's just easier to use now, and even stronger thanks to the upcast ability. And if you wanted to know, Eldritch Knights and Arcane Tricksters, you don't have to fret about multi-classing or anything. If you want to use this too, and you don't want to use the ring, at level 8, you're going to get the ability to use it too. You just won't really have the capacity to upcast it, but that's okay, trust me. I love pure Arcane Trickster. It just got way cooler, and I really love that this patch has enhanced older subclasses into new ways to play them as well, okay? So you do not need proficiency to use this, and in fact, in the case of an Arcane Trickster, it is a finesse weapon, so we can sneak attack with it, right? It's going to use your strength or dex, whatever's higher. Currently, my dex is higher up right now, right? So it's going to use my dexterity bonuses and accuracy to use this thing. And keep in mind, it's not an enchanted weapon. It doesn't have the +1 to accuracy, so that can really hinder your accuracy when you're building for this. Just keep that in mind. Also, if we take a giant elixir, right? Let me make sure we see this. So right now it's using my dexterity bonus, right? Because my dexterity is higher than my strength. So if I swap over to having higher strength, 27 strength, you'll see now that it's become more accurate because it's using that +8 strength bonus, okay? So again, if you can use this on a variety of characters now. It's so much more flexible. It's a very powerful weapon, okay? And for reference, even in its base form, it's a 2d8 weapon plus your bonuses. A 2d8, if you think about a greatsword as a two-hander weapon, you must two-hand it. It is a 2d6 weapon, so it's stronger than a greatsword technically, right? And it can be finesse, sneak attack, and all this stuff, okay? So, also, yes, warlocks can pact weapon it, okay? So if you wanted to use charisma, you can do that too. Let's talk about the resonance stone real quick. For those who don't understand what is so powerful about a psychic weapon and why it's broken, is because in Act 2 you can get this little guy, the resonance stone. It creates a steeped in bliss condition. Let's kind of move this over here a little bit better. Okay, it's just hopping all around now. Alright, so the steeped in bliss condition, two things that are worth noting. The first one being that you can create vulnerability, double psychic damage to anybody, including yourself, in a 30-foot or a 9-meter radius, okay? So this thing is very powerful because psychic damage just got a glow up. It's now double damage. This was always in the game, but you want to carry it on yourself, okay? it's going to be a little weighty. It's 10 weight, but this thing creates an area where everybody gets this psychic vulnerability, thus doing double damage to them, right? But it also creates wisdom disadvantage, saving throw disadvantage, okay? So if you have a low wisdom saving throw, you might accidentally get hit by a hold person spell and really gets ruined, and that really ruined the original Shadow Blade because then you can't concentrate, okay? But just watch out for these bonuses. It's a risky choice, but it really pays out. Okay. So, no, the Shadow Blade cannot be twin meta magic. That's not how we're dual wielding. You can't just twin magic. See how it's not lighting up when I twin magic? Yeah. Okay. It cannot be thrown. So we tried it on our barbarian here. We did a Shadow Barbarian. Doesn't work that way because, again, both versions of the Shadow Blade cannot leave your persons. I can't just put it on the ground. Can't be taken out. You can see the words right there. Okay. So it cannot be used by another person because of the same reason. It can't be given to somebody. So if I select this, I can't throw it, and I can't send it to camp. I can't send it to anybody. Okay? It cannot leave the caster. However, yes, it can indeed sneak attack. Okay? So it's a finesse weapon. Gale here as a 12 Arcane Trickster would get a 6d6 on top of this right here. As you can see, we can definitely, you know, sneak attack somebody. Okay? Quicken meta magic. Okay, so you can indeed meta magic the quicken spell. What's it? Yeah, I know it's not glowing right now, but you can see it says bonus action. Okay, which is funny because yeah, trust me, you can't twin this thing. Okay, so you can't twin it, but you can use meta magic to make it with your bonus action in case you forgot to whip this thing out. Booming Blade. Obviously you saw that we can Booming Blade with this weapon, which is a really powerful combo. Okay? Hex Pact Weapon, we've talked about that. That works. Magic Elemental Weapon. I don't love these spells, but if you did mod them or you use them, whatever, I like to get rid of the concentration using mods. But regardless, you can use Drake Throat or whatnot on this. That's one good use of it. Or if you just want to cast and concentrate on magic or elemental weapon, you can do that now that you're not concentrating on the new Shadow Blade. Coated in oil. Yes, it does work. If you have an oil, you can coat it. Let's use, for instance, a Diminution. Okay, so coat it. Okay, and now as you can see, I got 10 turns of Diminution on my Shadow Blade, which is really good for, say, the coding of accuracy. I think that would help out a lot of people. Dual wielding, yes, we can dual wield, but like I said, there's going to be a stipulation here. Okay? You can't keep casting this. If I cast this, watch what it's going to do. I have currently the level 6 version. If I cast it again, it's going to replace my current version. See how it has no coding? It's weaker. Okay? And it doesn't matter if I go into any other casting. I'll show you if I cast again another level 2. Hold on. Let's put a dagger here, see what happens, okay? What it's going to do is pay attention to this disappearing, okay? If I cast it again, it swaps out. You've received the Shadow Blade, but the previous one. So only, you know, once per caster, you watch out, you might replace your level 6 or 4 with a level 2 trying to dual wield this, okay? But you can dual wield it. How? If you're willing to use the ring and concentrate on this for whatever reason, I don't care why you want to do this, you can indeed dual wield Shadow Blades, okay? My other one just went in my inventory, don't worry. So that's how I'm dual wielding Shadow Blades without any kind of glitches or anything like that. And I personally like the restrictions to the Shadow Blade, but I'm not going to complain that everybody can now use it as a spell, upcast it, not have to glitch it. But if you want to legit dual wield, this is how you're going to have to do it currently, okay? Why do you want to do that? I don't know. Anyway, casting the spell replaces the Shadow Blade like we talked about. If you want to dual wield, you must use the ring and you must concentrate on that ring. But hey, if you don't haste yourself, now as a Shadow Sorcerer, I technically have the ability to attack twice. So I'm sort of like a melee guy. Okay, so concentration, just if you wanted to do this. A crash course, I'm going to kind of skip through and just give you the basics, the highlights, the cliff notes, okay? You really want a decent good constitution stat. If I take this amulet off, I still have 14, And if I start as a sorcerer, I actually get proficiency, which is really important. Okay, so just as a crash course, raise constitution. Why? Don't worry about it. It gives you proficiency. If you have proficiency in your constitution saving throws, it's going to help with your concentration saving throws. So just think con, it's the same thing. Okay, so you really want to add proficiency to this if you can. You also want to add advantage. That's why we're using that amulet. It gives me everything. It gives me a higher constitution, right? It gives me the advantage on constitution saving throws. So I roll 2 dice. It's less likely that I'm going to lose my concentration. If I have bonuses like proficiency or any other things like supreme defenses, I'm going to make it so it's very less likely that I break concentration. Also, don't get hit in general. So if you had good armor class, you won't get hit. You won't suffer the chances of losing concentration in the first place, which also goes for don't get prone. So if you fall down, it immediately ends your concentration no matter what, guaranteed 100%. So find a way to not get prone or just don't get hit, right? Don't fall prone. All right, so I got 2 builds for you today for Tim. Basically, we're going to show you a pure shadow sorcerer, highlight this cool new class. So what I'm going to do is roll it back. I'll explain how this goes down real quick. Shart is a dual-wielding Skadoo Blade user. She is pure Shadow Sorcerer. I did this because I wanted to show you a pseudo-martial. You can play a fighter or a weapon fighter even as a pure mage class, right? We got 16 Dexterity to start, 14 Constitution, we know why, right? And 16 Charisma. So we got to use our weapon with Dexterity. We got Constitution for concentration, and we want to spell cast with our Charisma, right? So we have 2 Dexterity, and then you can get 2 more Dexterity or Resilient Dexterity if you want. You can do Savage Attacks. Savage Attacks is excellent on Shadow Blade because it's a lot of dice damage, right? And we double up that dice damage because it's Psychic. So you really, really, really want Savage Attacker. Savage Attacker, just real quick, basically gives you better rolls on your dice damage when you're using a melee weapon, okay? And that's we'll save that for another time. Supreme Defenses. The reason why is since we're concentrating already on this Shadow Blade to dual wield, right? So Supreme Defenses gives us a huge spellcasting modifier bonus to every saving throw. So this +6 is now added to our saving throws, including Constitution. So it's extremely easy with 18 saving throw to concentrate on your Shadow Blade, especially if you have advantage from some source like the Peerless Elixir, or later on in Act 3, you can have a Constitution Amulet. So the Brain Drain Gloves are really good. What they're going to do is apply Mental Fatigue, which makes it even easier to land things like Hold spells, or Wisdom saving throw spells, right? So you really want that when you're doing psychic damage. The Evasive Boots to get some decent armor class and so on and so forth. Free Action Ring so you don't get paralyzed yourself. Paralyzed or restrained, okay? And the Shadow Blade Ring, obviously we need to use this to dual wield if that's what we want to do. Birthright Hat gives us Charisma, and the Hellrider Bow gives us some initiative. Okay, so we have decent initiative. We can use Mage Armor somewhere, somehow. I guess I forgot it, but Gale. Okay. Let me just pull out some Mage Armor then. Okay, so I'll cast that on myself. Obviously, you can learn this as a Shadow Sorcerer. Now we have pretty decent armor class. Like I said, don't get hit. We can't be paralyzed. If we get paralyzed, we lose concentration, right? So we should be able to just use this, okay? And while we could use this build a variety of different ways, thanks to haste and whatnot, we're just going to dual wield for fun, right? So what I'm going to do is peel back the notes. This is going to be really quick examples because Shadow Blade is disgustingly powerful. All right? That wasn't really Booming Blade so much as the psychic damage gets doubled up from vulnerability, right? And honestly, I'm just using a weaker version of it, right? But like I said, you can now technically have 2 attacks just as a pure sorcerer, you know, focusing on having 2 Shadow Blades. So you can attack with your offhand Shadow Blade, and you attack with your main hand Shadow Blade, and you don't need proficiency, you just get to use these at max potential. So that's really cool, right? And then we have a dog. Hey, go ahead, get him, Nimbus.
Ah, yeah, I got him, he's dead.
All right, perfect. So hop on over here, Arnson. And then you can shield. Nice benefit. So if you want to play this caster as like a melee, it's actually really cool. Alright. So what I'm going to do is actually, I can dual wield, we know that, right? But I can also drop this, okay? And I can concentrate with haste, okay? We'll go into haste mode. And now another way to play a caster that can attack twice is just going haste as a sorcerer, right? And booming blade a bunch of times with your shadow blade. Shazam! Okay, so when we crit, we do double the dice damage. Savage attacker makes a lot better dice damage happen. And then because it's psychic and we have steep bliss, we do double damage. We do disgusting damage. And that was, I think, with a level 2 spell slot. So we could have made Shadow Blade like ridiculously powerful. 432 plus we double that up, right? Pretty crazy. So let's roll it back. I'm going to now show you an Arcane Trickster example because, again, I think it's awesome that older subclasses, like all the vanilla stuff, is still getting stronger too, thanks to these cool additions to the game. Okay, so Skadoo Trickster, we're going to go pure Arcane Trickster, an idea that everyone seems to laugh at until they realize what I do with it, because I love Arcane Trickster, I love rogues, and you don't need a multi-class to get a really powerful Arcane Trickster, and that's even more the case nowadays, okay, with this new Shadow Blade. So Gale here has already summoned his Shadow Blade at level 8 Trickster. You can now access this, no multi-classing needed. We'll take 16 Dex and then 17 Intelligence, and with the Hag Hair we can actually get to 18 Intelligence, which is pretty important, but hold on. If we get 2 Dexterity, we will bump ourselves up to 18. If we take Savage Attackers, we'll get better rolls on our Shadow Blade. If we take another 2 Dex, we'll make this even stronger with more Dexterity. And if we dual wield, it's not needed, but it's cool. We get a little additional armor class, okay? So the gear, just take decent cloth gear. Maybe like the cat cloth for earlier game. Brain Drain gloves, again, let's use the Brain Drain gloves. I don't need these, I need the Brain Drains, okay? Let's take the Night Walkers, because we do get a free Misty Step out of it. That's pretty cool. Okay. And then, oh, you know what I forgot to mention right here? Is Rhapsody is a huge thing, okay? So maybe not dual wielding the 2 Shadow Blades, but maybe if we had Rhapsody. Rhapsody's going to add 3 damage, right? And it's going to double up because it's psychic damage. So that's a lot of extra damage. And because we don't have a weapon enchantment, this acts like a legendary +3 accuracy and attack damage booster, right? Because we're not two-handing it, we can do that. And we don't even need dual wielder to dual wield daggers, okay? So, yeah, a lot of this isn't all that important. What is important is if we use Booming Blade, we'll get Arcane Synergy. That's going to add 4 more damage to our psychic, and that will double up to 8 more damage. So you definitely want to be Booming Blade, and Booming Blade, if you have the conditions, can also proc Sneak Attack, which is all doubled up too. Whoa! Okay, so Arcane Trickster, really cool, really powerful. If you don't know the trick, you can use Hans here to trigger your Sneak Attack, guaranteed right there. Okay, but let's Booming Blade instead. Here we go. And oh, you didn't die? That's cool. Sneak attack, you're dead. So, as you can see right here, yeah, I still got the damage numbers up. Okay, so that's 12 damage with the Savage Attacker on Thunder, but we did 42 damage with our Skadoo Blade and Rhapsody, doubling up to 42, and then we get 66. Whatever that ends up being, it gets doubled to a massive 52. So we can just blow people up in a single strike. Kind of like what Sneak Attack really should be, right? So that's cool. And then come on over here, Arnson. We're not done. Yeah, let's go. Ooh. Ooh. I don't have to concentrate anymore, boy. Okay, but what's funny about Rogue, especially Arcane Trickster, is, let me go over here. I'm gonna do that. That's cool. We don't need the Kashigo counter. What we need to do is come over here, right? We can Cunning Action Hide. Now we have Magical Ambush as a Trickster, right? And now we have like a guaranteed Hold Person, which is going to be nasty next turn, right? Here we go. So we can guarantee now that this is going to be extremely stupid. Yeah, 72. We didn't even get Sneak Attack on that. So, pretty wild. And I just now realized I didn't have the notes out when I explaining it. So again, real quick on this build, let me show you. So the only real big things here are we have the 16 Dex, and we'll grow it into 20 Dex, okay? 17 Int, because with Hag here we can get it to 18, which really helps out with the Arcane Synergy Ring, because we can make 4 more damage from Intelligence into 8 more damage thanks to the psychic potential, okay? So, Arcane Trickster's even better now with this patch, as long as things don't change. But yeah, How do you level up and play these and build these? That's why we do it on stream. We're currently testing things, but I play on honor mode on stream so you can see whatever cool idea, whatever cool characters. Don't let anyone tell you Arcane Trickster's bad at level 12, right? It's because we play it through the game on the live stream and we can see together what's strong, what's fun, what's cool. Take any idea, you can beat honor mode with it, trust me. But I try to show you what's the potential so you can have fun too. And I get good ideas from you guys, and we're testing things in patch 8 because you guys give me comments or come into the live chat. So you guys are my sponsor on this channel. I appreciate you so much for watching. And if you want to support the channel on YouTube, it's as low as it's going to get. But the best support, as I always say, is you guys having fun and learning, and we're growing and seeing what we can do with this game. So go play some honor mode. I'll see you in chat. I'll see you in stream. Until then, have a blessed one.